Hello, hello. How are you?
How you doing? How are you? Good to see you.
I know. Long time no see.
Hi.
I'm Doug.
Hi, Doug. I'm Angie. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Jenny.
Doug.
Hi, Jenny. Nice to meet you. Nice to be met.
Yes. Hello. How are you?
Right? Okay.
Good. Another one out.
Head that way.
Jennifer, Jennifer.
Kip Road, right? Kip Road, out that way, and boom, thank you. Noah.
Glad you woke up. Because we'd have missed you tonight.
All right.
Did you give me $2? Were you still standing there with Yeah. Well, I don't know it's better weather. It's warmer, also drier. Didn't know this way was.
He has no idea. Well, part of the electric fence, it doesn't have what?
Yeah, they did.
You want to get them all, I'll have to rebate. Thank you. Hey, I gotta ask. Where did you go?
But he didn't go to why about 8 o'clock in the morning, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm just curious. We were up at Costco the other day. Okay, then we had a Costco green can. They give us really well. Yeah. No big deal, but I've always been.
Hello. I'm fine. I'm Cindy.
For 10 years, I've been up to the north. I don't know what he would work.
Well, he must have the flexible stuff. Well, the other night when you and I worked, he says, I'm gonna be here like this. You walk out of this. Not that way.
Hey.
Sometimes you're all just funny because
Oh,
he
good. The PowerPoint hooked up just like that. The other time, I got you not working, or lights on and running.
We're just going from poker to we don't go out to dinner or anything like that.
Yeah. I didn't think so. Somebody like that. You know what?
It's all around the west side.
Oh, really?
Big kayaking issue. Friend, I decided that I probably ought to do a couple practices before I go this weekend is an immersive kayak. It's at Big Blue Lake, Camp Penguin.
Where's Big Blue Lake?
Just north of Little Blue Lake, which is where Blue Lake.
If you say Blue Lake, and not give me any other place.
Wait, you know what the Blue Lake Camp?
Fine Arts Camp.
Blue Lake Fine Arts. It's inland from Whitehall,
Like, oh, okay.
north of Mesquite.
This is by White Lake.
Lake Hall, Lake Michigan.
Yeah, Whitehall, Montague, so it's, you go east from there.
It's also the Waco State Park.
Yeah, it's ways from that, but it's in that same area.
Yeah.
So,
Rustic. In a tent. Long time ago.
actually, we did too one time. We met up with some friends. That was before Emma, that tells you how long ago it was. thinking, you know, planning to go to Hoffmaster, they were full. So it was kind of, okay, what do we do? All right, let's find this, and we found the Rego State Park. We didn't need, you know, both was at 10. You know, I think that was,
Just stopped at 2 years ago.
yeah.
Finally tired of the year platform.
I say we stopped camping 40 years ago. So went through a lot of our routes, very expensive.
We just bought a really small one.
My name's
Oh, yeah.
This is his dad, Mike.
Ruth and I, we ditched the pup when he was worn out anyway. When we bought the Forester, we said that, so we bought a REI Kingdom 6, which is big tent, 6-person tent. You can stand up in it. And we used that for a bit because we started this 2 years ago, about 2 weeks ago. We started building a little 12 by 20 cabin up in the family property in Antrim County. And so, yeah, so that, it's actually, the idea was it's a tent that you don't have to fold up and throw away. Yeah,
Cot or something.
yeah, we got an air conditioner.
We bought a 17-foot tractor. 17 which we love. It has no slides, but it's like a little cabin, sliding around in a huge area.
And Ruth's really not a big deal. And I'm not a fan of that, you don't have big vehicles to pull, you don't
But it's still smaller than what we had before.
yeah. So, we're happy and,
That's all that matters.
you know, we took that, big tent out west for, I think, 35 days. We tented like, 15 or 20 days of it.
Tenting does.
Yeah. And we were all in national park, so we could have pulled, you know, people pulled in, although a couple of parks we just at the tent area. The Bryce, you know, we're in the tent camp, we had
By the time we took it out, I was really wet.
Your camper.
Yeah, we put a little Mr. Buddies in. And we didn't take west, we didn't take west, but it's got this, the garage, it's kind of like a mega vestibule that comes out the front, so. You can crawl in there and you can dump the wet stuff there. And you can pull in, if you don't mind ducking, because it's lower out there. It's really nasty. Buckets. Fold up table.
His hair was awesome.
Stove and fold up.
Show it to the captain.
Yeah, it was jealous. And I still am perfectly happy with that kind of business.
Oh, this is
Call this meeting to order. If we could all stand and pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And our prayer is on your program.
guest tonight is Noah. And Noah, when he was president of the Leos, he attended our Lions meeting. And for the Leos, he's the only one that's ever attended our Lions meeting. This is Dad Mike and his mom Angie. And behind her is Jean Parker, who live next door to these two. And then I live a house from all three of them. And Jean is a cousin to Jim. And or Rich.
Yeah, I'll introduce, so I've got Gwen Botting here tonight, and I met her, this is kind of an odd little intersection, what you call a Venn diagram of paddlers and lions. Now, I met her at an event called the Quiet Adventures Symposium, it used to be the Quiet Water Symposium, and she was there, and she was talking 2 years ago about taking these kids that are either very low vision or blind and putting them into single kayaks and paddling on Lake Superior in the Apostle Islands. And with folks that I know from Chicago Adventure Therapy. And I'm like, wow, I need to get her to come to Lions Club. And then this year I actually got around to doing it. She's talking about putting kids on blind, low vision on bicycles and paddling bicycles. So I actually touched base with Gwen, and now I found out that it's Lion Gwen from, is it Lionsmuir? Lionsmuir Lions Club. And she is part of, we'll go into details, but this is Gwen Botting.
Well, it's a toss-up, but you have more guests over here, so you guys can go first, and then Rich and Miss Bonnie and Ken, or Doug can go. And maybe it's a free-for-all, whatever you want to do. Rich should have been here, no.
There was a guy in an electric unicycle. An electric unicycle.
I've seen one, not here. I think everywhere I did see one,
He stopped for the light when he was ready to take off. He forward like that. I mean, he was going in traffic. I mean, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And this guy was ready to take off.
Wearing them out?
I did. I didn't get a response.
walking in the bus bound.
This is,
It wasn't as good as mine. Which story did you like better?
That's been rotated, and I can't remember where I seen one, but I did see somebody. And I thought, that's about the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. This is close too.
you're bigger than I am.
We know another unicycle story. We were in Canada, way away. We were literally dozens of miles from anything. And here's this guy on this tall unicycle.
We see them going on Canada, not on unicycles, but on bicycles. I mean, they'll be 60 miles from nowhere. And they're pedaling along.
Race is on. My wife.
I think he was on the sidewalk.
No, she was talking about a unicycle. One of the tall, one was tall.
Like a circus act.
Salad, white. I don't know how you couldn't see on the other side how the motor was attached to it, but. Or two or three. You know what he was doing?
Did you hear that?
But anyway,
She's all through.
Lorraine said that she's here.
Yeah, I heard you talking to her about that. That was, yeah, that was when we were at, Poker. Yeah.
And I got, the items from.
Okay. Yeah. My folders came pretty quick. We're gonna have something for Wednesday, but they were on the porch yesterday.
Planting this year.
This came from India. I could track it all the way
Really?
to the front porch. Believe it or not, it took like a week.
So that group is run by Project Management Professional, EMP. That takes a fair amount of effort to get that certification.
Sandra got a little bit more, but I didn't want to run.
So Rod, you just lost the law, you're doing all those Texas holdings. Last year, that road, must have been tiring. We didn't agree.
But you're there till 2 o'clock.
No.
Oh, you can.
I was there on 6 till Wisconsin Tuesday, the other 2 days I was there from 2 to 6.
Oh,
Wasn't bad.
I didn't know you were gonna be president tonight.
It's just don't do it, please.
How's our neighbors up there on Hall, up there in Water, horses?
Yeah.
I think we donated to that project. Remember when that was up?
If you can see it. That one was it?
I went to an estate sale today, you know what I bought? Turbo fish finder, hummingbird.
Oh, really?
It was owned by accident. It's an arcade, open it up, and it lifts up, and it's got battery. And turning on the battery, the thing came on.
Came on.
And she had $79 on it. So I took it upstairs and I had a 2-gallon gas can. It's only $3 for both. I don't know. That's a hummingbird. I'm like, Then I'll give you $3 for the, yeah. Oh, no, it says I guess we can move that. It was one day sale, it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I'm going through the paint collection and see what the bottom paint chip color is.
Actually, a little north of there.
So I got to the home, took the batteries out, and the batteries were, yeah, that was from 5. And they still work.
Clear all the way paint off before they.
Good battery.
Yeah.
It's a process. They follow as many rules as possible.
They're nothing more than running down a little bit. They're gonna need one.
You say somebody's going into that building or?
If I'm going to help,
Back to your chair, so.
Tell you how early a summer it is. I harvested the first strawberry today. Crazy. You're coming, but I just, yesterday I noticed there's one in the red spot. And there, took a look at it, it's there, but it's still yellow at the tip. This morning, it was fully ripe.
That's more like it.
We've got these white irises that are too big for their own good. And way too big for their own good. So that wind we had Monday night, yeah, tip them over a bit.
Oh, that's what I was
Yeah. These are kind of protected, they're up against one side or another of the shed. So they're not bad, most of the irises are fine. Most of them are just kind of random ones that get in one house or another, and who knows what there's. Ones that we've got, I think we brought from the house in town. But I call them, they're a light purple, but the fragrance is knee-high grape soda. I mean, it's right there.
Greenhouse. It's one of the plastic.
85.
Because I've got so many pictures.
All the others are
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on? You don't know if it's gonna be good or something.
I was on
You know, it's understandable. So.
the parade is pretty close to being not happening, encompassed hybrid. And as it stands right now, we're gonna
Mine
shoot
says just a
here, then we're going to the bridge, we're gonna shoot, then we're gonna go
So the first letter.
cemetery and reload and shoot again. Because the VFW is possibly
We've got a kindergarten, we've got her boxes by the front door. But now I have like aromatic stuff.
nobody really
Have you been up to the MSU Children's Fair? Because they'd have that pizza garden up there.
Well, I definitely have all the herbs you need, all the herbs you need, all the herbs you need for several different herbs. The kids go, what? Yeah.
Oh, no.
Go around and taste them. But the best thing is, you can't have those things. They have no idea. No idea.
Don't think that is driving.
All
Yeah,
of
it's
that.
the same. Maybe you'll want to drive.
The next day's due.
We're up to work.
No, she did this yesterday.
It was right between our.
Didn't know she was gonna try to make.
Game, we were looking for floor for the kid. I don't remember what,
He
oh,
was talking about that, he's been, he's only supposed to be restricted for 6
so
months.
up there, yeah, a friend of mine, they gave it, I said, the son, they give it to him. And so we were gonna cook that over the fire, and I was thinking, I'll get some vegetables
Yeah.
to go with it. And she's got similar opinions about you and I on cans. And she saw this, a couple cans, I don't know where we're at in our house. 2 cans of peas and carrots.
Oh, was it, no?
And she opened up the one can and put it in the pot on the stove. He said, no.
Yeah, it just.
I ended up later on, after I wanted to help her. Got the shovel out and walked a little ways from the cabin and got the holder. The peas in the front cabin.
Composting.
Frozen fine, but canned peas are, well,
Yeah. But I keep an eye on that. The way it gets to the.
My son was hanging out with my house, taking care of the dogs or whatever. And he loves mushrooms, but just like, please take them home with you. You know what? Oh, that's it, just
last one.
It was already. Well, thank you.
92 when you're done, you got it.
Thank you, sir.
Very good. Very good.
Oh. What is it?
Oyster mushrooms.
Oyster mushrooms?
Uh-huh.
Wow. Never seen that.
They have a mostly white, a slightly yellow tinge to them.
Here's our front of the
Wow, nice. Nice stuff. Random.
This is a guess one?
was quick, I didn't have to think about that. There's a reason for that. And only 2 of them made any sense, or maybe 3.
Wrong answer? That's your trivia test, right?
That'd be fun trivia.
Sometimes I do pretty good in these, but this one, pretty random. Jamie does a nice job.
Then it rained and she took going home. Carried in the store in her hand.
There you go.
No.
Who's the owner of all this?
Well, it seems that, looks like.
You're gonna live now?
Little quiz. How about the first one? What color is octopus blood? Blue. Hey.
You got one in a row?
How about number 2? Are they venomous?
No.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. How about number 3? How many hearts? 3. 3 hearts. How many arms or tentacles does one have?
8.
8, right?
That's the octa.
How many brains?
I put down 5.
9.
9?
Each brain section controls part of the central nervous system and all different systems. It's got one individual brain each. How many eyes does an octopus have? 2.
I got that one right.
How about a hummingbird?
160.
9?
C is a nickel. Yeah, I don't know what I'm looking. And number 8, how many times can it flap its wings per second? 80. 80 times. How about number 9?
All of the above?
Yeah.
You get all 3.
Yeah.
You all win on that one. How about the 10th one? The
B.
D is in David, the brain. Number 11, the longest known hummingbird migration. 3,000, yep.
All right.
How about number 12 in the wild?
6. guess.
6 is correct if it doesn't get eaten first.
What's that, 6
They can
years?
survive about 6 years.
You were right on that.
Oh, what a worm, oh, worm. How about the, last one, the red wiggler, backyard composting?
50%.
50%.
Hey, I got 8 of the Some of them were just random guesses. You're a random guess. Thank you. Thank you.
Up to that. Who's paying for all of them?
Thank you. But the great people told me the questions were well researched, although the answers are not.
No, it's really odd,
I haven't had that on in many ages. I used to listen to
They probably show up there.
Yep.
Why the answer to that answer?
Hey, Jen, is there any cookies up there?
So maybe, no, that's okay.
No, two left, Rod, hurry. Wait,
Wait on one.
Yes.
1.5. Stan Jordan Scholarship presentation to know more, and I'm gonna have Cindy come up and talk a little bit about it.
No, you have to come up. We are really pleased to present to you the Stan Jordan. We're calling it something special.
Just a Stan Jordan Scholarship.
Stan Jordan Scholarship. It was really fun. Noah was a Leo member for 2 or 3 years. 2 years when Kathy Hicks was the advisor to the Leos. And he was very active president, and got the club to really do a lot of things. I think the thing that I remember was the holiday party, the Christmas party, where you got them to play a musical instrument, and everyone was very nervous when you guys were doing it because nobody was really paying a lot of attention. But when they got together, when they came to the Lions Club, our holiday party, you guys pulled it all off. And so that was really, you were really one of the more active Leos that we've had, and we still do have Leos in the middle school. But we do miss you, and we wish you the best in everything that you do. So, on behalf of the Mason Lions Club, we want to present you with this award. Okay, we'll sign it later. And why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
So I'm attending Central Michigan University next year to get a degree in secondary education with a social studies focus. That's what Mrs. Hicks taught in middle school, and she was also one of the reasons why I want to go into that field as well.
What have you been doing in high school?
A lot. I'm in the National Honor Society, student leadership, youth and government. I'm an active member in the high school theater, in all the plays and musicals. I helped found the mental health board at the high school, which is a student-led panel to have awareness for mental health. I also attend the Wilson Talent Center for the new educational careers program, and I get to be in a 5th grade classroom twice a week, so I get to know students.
So you're graduating so you can rest? I'm sure you'll be active in college, so it's wonderful to see that you're doing something and what you're going to be doing in the future. Keep us posted.
Let him tell you how he got the calluses on his knees.
Well, how did you get the calluses on your knees?
Inquiry minds want to know.
That's right.
I played waterpark track, so I was walking on the beach the whole time.
They need pads, knee pads?
Oh, there were knee pads.
Oh, okay. Good.
This is what they would have read to you at the, this scholarship is offered in memory of Lion Stan Jordan. Stan was the heart and soul of Mason Lions Club, as well as a wide range of other community organizations. He showed all of us the value of community and how to rise above and beyond the challenges of life can give us. The Mason Lions Club congratulates you
that you remember as you grow older that you join a Lions Club?
This was, I don't know if you want this or not, this was the write-up, things that Stan has done in the community. So, I don't know if you want that. Thank you very much.
We have a big check.
Buried in the middle.
I thought you had a big check there.
Yeah, wow, wait a minute.
Maybe you need to get a deed.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, maybe the big check. Never mind.
Okay, try to get taller.
Right. Thank you.
And now, if we could have Rich introduce Ms. Botting again. And, oh, pay attention.
All right, so I snagged this off your website, so if there's anything off on that, this is Lyon Gwen Body, Executive Director. Gwen is the parent of a young adult who is blind and a college graduate. She lives in Ionia, Michigan. Gwen was recently awarded a recognition award by Michigan Alliance for Environmental and Outdoor Education. Gwen is a graduate of Knox College in Galesville, Illinois, and Calvin College, Grand Rapids. Gwen and her husband Jim have two children, Greg, who's blind, and Krista. Greg and Krista are graduates of Alma College. Greg spent his second semester of his sophomore year attending the University of Aberdeen in Scotland. Gwen was the president of Michigan Parents of Children with Visual Impairments for 12 years. She's been involved in Opportunities Unlimited for the Blind for many years, first attending OUB activities when her son was only 2 years old. Gwen has served as a board member of OUB and was instrumental in starting the organization's gardening and cooking classes for blind and visually impaired campers. She became director in March of 2012 and executive director in 2013. She was camp director of OUB activities at Camp Tushmahida, and I think many of us remember that camp, 12 and 13, and Camp Optimist in 2016 and 17, and brought the organization through COVID and into where we're at now.
Next century.
Gwen is also the past president, current secretary of the Lions Viewer Lions Club. So I'm going to introduce Gwen.
I have to go to where my laptop is, so. It's okay, I think. So, this is a little awkward. Let me see if I can move this a little bit. Okay. So, I did something tonight I've never done before, ever. And I drove the wrong van. So all of my presentation stuff, all of my papers, all of my toys are home. So fortunately, I did have my computer with me, so you do get to see some pictures. So this is what we do. And we have a camp that is, by the way, that's a pretty old bio. So Greg has just turned 30. So that's how long I've been involved with children who are blind and low vision. But I also had a grandmother and a great aunt who were blind. And so I had a little bit of knowledge before we had Greg of how life for a blind person works and sometimes doesn't work. So it was really important to us as a family to make sure we helped kids learn how to be adaptable and to learn the special skills that a blind person needs that are not the same as what you and I need. They are not going to be able to read a map that just get at the way stations up on the interstate. They're not going to be able to drive a car, not yet anyway, although there's that possibility still, I think. But so if you're not going to be able to drive in our country with our society, you got to figure out how to get around. So we really want to focus on how kids move, and especially how they move in areas that don't have concrete. Now, a lot of you know about Bear Lake, and a lot of you have probably been there. Bear Lake is a great camp for kids that are primarily from the city because they are comfortable with as much concrete as Bear Lake has. When they come to my camp, they get a little freaked out because I have almost no concrete. And the way we make paths is we take old garden hoses and we stretch them between their tent platform and the bathhouse. So they have to follow the hose with their cane up to the bathhouse. And yes, I did say tents. Our kids, we all sleep in tents all summer. Staff get bigger tents because we have to be there for 8 weeks. And yes, I sleep in a tent too. I'm not going to be, Miss Goody Two Shoes here, get a special deal. So we all sleep outside, which is a great experience for them because then they get that wonderful immersion into the sounds of nature. Some of them get a little scared with that, but we try and comfort them about that. I have one little boy say, "Somebody's going to come and get me tonight." I'm like, "Who?" Like, "I don't know, just somebody." I'm like, "Bob, nobody has ever done anything here, ever, that they shouldn't have been doing." He's like, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes, positive." He said, "Well, if you say so, okay." And then he went to sleep and he was fine for the next couple days. And then I sent him home after a while because he was really wound up and really tight. So we successfully managed a couple of days with him. For most of my kids, they come back for a second and third and fourth camp each summer, and maybe not 4, but 3. And they just love camp. They come back year after year. This year I've got more kids coming that are new, which is really exciting. So I'm going to get a little bit confused here, so I'm going to start the slideshow here. So this is our logo, and we are at Camp Optimist, which is the Optimist Club's camp on the west side of Grand Rapids. We are in Ottawa County, if that makes a difference to anybody. And, whoops, why isn't this working like it's supposed to? Okay. I thought I had this figured out. Click on what? Why isn't it's just not advanced. There we go. Okay. Different button. So our mission statement was.
We're getting a little bit of.
That's a loose cable.
Our mission statement is building life skills, self-confidence, and independence for children and young adults who are blind and have low vision. This is really important that we added young adults because most of my staff are young adults who are also blind and low vision. There are no better mentors for my kids than kids who are blind and low vision. So we might have lost it. That does not.
Cable issues.
It's probably the connection to the computer, Rich. That's what we've been having a problem with.
Well, whatever. I'll just talk because I can't.
Back in a moment.
Oh, it's back?
Yep.
All right, now I'm gonna see if I can make this work. Nope, it didn't. Oh, you said to use this one.
Yep.
There we go. So, this year I'm gonna have 18 staff members. That's a lot. I normally go with like 12, including me. And the reason I've got those extra kids is because the Bureau of Services for Blind People has finally decided that we're legit, and they want their young people that they're trying to get into the college and post-college job market, want to give them an opportunity to have work experiences in a real work setting. Now, camp is not real work, it's harder than real work, just saying. Because it's basically a 12-hour day for 5 days a week, then you get to do your laundry, and then you get to start all over again on Sunday. So it's really important that our kids learn what work is, because most of them have never been able to watch anybody work. They've only heard it, they've heard about it, but they may not have actually done it themselves. This is usually the first job for my young people that are working for us. And so they have to learn all the rules that the state has to protect children. They have to learn about neglect and abuse. They have to learn how to recognize neglect and abuse, and that they have to report that to either Eric or myself. Eric's our camp director, and we are mandatory reporters for that. So we have to keep kids safe. We have a lot of rules at camp about how to stay safe. And so our kids, the kids' safety is obviously our #1 priority. Camp directors fear 3 things: food service malfunctions, waterfront problems, and lost campers. And fortunately, I don't have my own waterfront at camp. We do have some water, but it's not a waterfront. And we are borrowing a pool from a camp kind of down the road a little bit, which really helps us a lot. But we do have our own lifeguard, so it's still really critical that we follow all the rules and make sure that our kids are safe in the pool. And then the lost camper, we do lost camper drills all the time, and all my staff fight over who's going to be the lost camper, because they're always trying to fuss somebody around. So we do have a swimming pool available to us, which is obviously, when you got kids that are feisty and a little bit like tired and disgruntled, what do? Put them in water. It works every time. Then they're even more tired. And the same camp has a rock wall. Again, I do not have to have staff that are certified to do the rock wall. I get to borrow the other camp's staff to make sure that our kids are safe on their rock wall. And just right up Rich's alley here. This is his friend George Stockman's canoes, and we had a lot of kids going canoeing last summer, and they had no idea it was so hard to paddle a 7-person canoe. Because you really do have to pay attention to what you're doing, you have to do it together, and that's much harder than they thought. And we have Family Garden Day, and this year we had actually 3 different families come with kids all the way from 8 months to 16 attending, which was really interesting and fun. This is one of my staff members, and this is how we adapt the garden. So we have the raised beds, and we have the grid, so every square foot of that garden is one different kind of plant. But then, and this is usually not in any of the square foot gardening books, we make these templates that are just plastic corrugated, and my husband drills holes in them so that whatever plant it is, we can put them at the right spacing. Because if you put 500 seeds of lettuce in one little spot, what do you get? Nothing. Lots of little wimpy, skinny little plants that will do make no produce. So this is how we teach kids how far away they need to plant the seeds. And that's from last summer. You see, I gave away those pumpkins, and you can see we've got companion gardening there. These are nasturtiums. They're trying to keep the squash bugs away. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. And we always try and learn new skills at camp. So, like the bio said, I invented basically the gardening and cooking program at Camp Chesmahita. And because we moved to Camp Optimist, we have a residential style kitchen, which means it's safer for kids to be in there. I don't have the giant Wolf stove that has 85 burners and 50,000 BTUs. I don't have a convection oven. I don't have an overhead dishwasher that's 180 degrees. I have just a regular dishwasher, a regular stove. Sure wish I had 2 sometimes. And we still follow all the rules for sanitizing dishes because we are a certified kitchen. But our kids get to be in the kitchen every single day to learn to cook. Now, if you ask a parent who has a blind child, especially if they're 7 or 8, if they've taught them how to use a sharp knife yet, you'll probably get that kind of reaction. The answer is no, they have not done that. Have you taught your child how to get something out of the oven? Have you made cookies and taught them how to get it out of the oven? Well, no, that's hot. I'm like, Everybody, whoever is in a kitchen and actually cooks, has cut themselves. Everybody who has used a stove has burned themselves. But the problem is our kids can do it a little more catastrophically. So we have techniques and tools that help them learn how to do those things. And I am really good at teaching this stuff because my son Greg, who is now 30, is a really good cook, and he makes a mean meat. So, you know he can chop vegetables. He can also pour half the bottle of pepper in, but that's another story. And I try and teach everything from scratch. So we try and do all of our foods from the bottom up. And I try and do it foods that are going to be economical. Because the truth of the matter is, most of our kids are going to spend a significant amount of their adult lives unemployed. It's just the facts. My son is still unemployed, even with a college degree, and a perfectly wonderful personality, and he could do any phone job, but nobody has hired him. He's gone to 450 interviews. That's not just resumes that he's sent out, that's interviews. And that's just depressing. That's hard to face that much rejection. So I make sure our kids at least can cook, because if you can feed yourself, you can still live independently. If you cannot feed yourself, you cannot live independently. So these are really important skills that we're trying to make sure our kids have. And to do it cheaply, not necessarily, and still have good food in your mouth. This is Dorothy, who is a former vision teacher from the Montcalm County area, and she's married to Lion Ron, and Ron is our garden guide. So we have gone full circle here. We've got Lions helping us do projects. This young man has perfect eyes, but his brain doesn't know what to do with the information. So he's still considered visually impaired just because he doesn't have a good way to process what he sees. So getting him to put his hands on things is the way around that. Because our kids have to see with their fingers. And when you take a small child to the hospital and they say they want to do a finger stick, I said, please don't. They're their eyes. Find any other place on his body, but don't prick his fingers, please. So we try and make sure that our kids are safe, even in places where people think they're being safe. This photograph, I think, really scared one of my website guys. He was going through our Facebook page looking for stuff to put on our website, and he did not expect to see a picture of a bunch of blind people using Microsoft, or ChalkSoft, or whatever that is, because I don't even know. But my husband is there, and he's protecting their hands, protecting their fingers from themselves, and these guys are learning how to do stuff that they would never get a chance to do any other place. And there I am, I'm helping a couple girls work on drilling. And Robert's down there, and he's totally blind, and he's working on drilling too. And it's really important that our kids have these opportunities. And there's the bench, which you can't see because they're all sitting on it. So that's the bench that we made and put it into our garden. So that was cooking and serving camp. So we cook a lot and we do a service project. This year's service project is we're going to get all of our staff and all of our campers from that be CPR certified. Can't think of a better thing to do than to have more people that know how to save lives out in public. Our second camp is Discovery Camp, and we do science. And as you can see, we're doing some stuff about airplane wings. This young lady is now just retired from Parker Hannifin, and they gave us a really nice grant several years in a row now to do a science project or science camp with them. And then this is another Lions cool thing, is that the Alto Lions Club in 11C1, that's where my club is and my camp is 11C1. They give us enough money every year to go to Boulder Ridge Animal Park. And out of that, she also gives us an animal encounter. So they take baby animals usually because they're not feisty, and introduce our kids to them. And I've had kids that were absolutely terrified, like of the baby alligator, okay? And he was like screaming and running around being completely out of control. But at the end of the day, when we went to the gift shop, guess what he bought? An alligator. Bicycling camp is really great. This young lady kind of in the middle of the photograph is totally blind. She's following Jesse, who has a radio pack on his back. Think about how much courage that takes and how much trust she has to have in Jesse's ability. And I will tell you, they will never follow me because I'm not good at that. Jesse has gone coast to coast, west to east, and north to south with a totally blind woman on a single mountain bike and another guy, just the three of them. And they've ridden on crazy, like, 4-lane highways, and they've ridden on the Continental Divide, which is not paved, has lots of rocks, lots of trees, and lots of dips. In fact, there's a video of her struggling to get her bike up a stream that's going down about like that. So she's got to push up the stream to get to the rest of the trail. And Jesse knows how to do that, and he's volunteering to help our kids learn how to do the same thing his friend Sean knows how to do. Sean is completely blind also, and so that's when I knew it could be done. I had no idea before I met him that this was possible. So now that I know, we're doing this, and I hope I've got 3 kids. I've got 7 kids signed up. I hope 3 of them at least will try to do this independently. And we even recruit our staff to do this. We do have tandems, we have adaptive bikes, we have all kinds of things available to us because we partner with a couple of other organizations to make sure we have equipment. I keep acquiring tandems, they just keep showing up in my garage. I don't really get it. Yeah, things happen. Last year, we spent a lot of money because one thing our kids need to learn how to do is get around in a big city. Mason doesn't cut it. Ionia doesn't cut it. Grand Rapids doesn't cut it. And even Detroit doesn't cut it because they do not have a train system and they don't really have a good public bus system. Now, Grand Rapids is getting better, but still not up to stuff. So we took the kids to Chicago. And this trip was only for 4 campers and 4 staff. And I did not go because I do not like big cities. I like to be out in the woods. Okay, but they had a great time. They learned how to use Uber. They learned how to do Uber Eats. They did the L. They did all kinds of really cool stuff. They didn't go to a single museum because they didn't have time for that. They learned how to get around in a city situation, which is much more complicated when you can't see where you're going than most people think. This is from Cooking and Jamming Camp, and this is Cooking and Music. And this young man I'm very proud of because he is playing my French horn, and he is now renting that horn from me, and I am teaching him to play. So it's pretty cool. And you can see he's still wearing his snake that he got at the gift shop at Boulder Ridge Animal Park. And the young man in the back is pretty excited about how well Asher's doing there. But Asher now really plays well, and I'm very excited to have that happen. I have my own horn that's a much better horn than that. And I still play a lot. But that was a super cool thing. I now have a complete set of brass instruments that I can introduce the kids to, which is really a lot of fun. And we are going to be doing some kind of weird instrument that's brand new and there's only one of them in the world, and a blind guy in Grand Rapids has it. I don't know how this works, but I keep getting only these people in Grand Rapids know how to do these things. So he's going to introduce our kids to that and do a documentary film on it also, which is pretty amazing to me. So this young man is saying, I don't know about this, I don't know about this, because he does not want to learn how to flip that cheese sandwich. You see the spatula he's got? Lion Doug has one back with his stuff that he bought from me. These spatulas flip themselves. So you can get your pancake or your burger or your cheese sandwich up on it and then squeeze the handle,
Oh,
and the blade goes straight up and down, so the sandwich will go right back down where you had it. This is really important because most of the time when our kids do this, they get the burger and then it goes like that, and the dog gets it, okay? So that's not really what we want, especially if you're on a budget. You don't want to feed your dog expensive burger meat. So this young man is learning how to do that, and his mom is being very careful with him because he does have a spectrum disorder, that he was successful doing that. We were really excited about that. And that's what I do every day, all day at camp. This is also part of cooking and jamming camp, where we have a young man here who's teaching another little boy who has a very unusual facial deformity that caused him to have no eyes at all. Deanne, his big sister, and he's obviously going to be a great musician. He's really paying attention to what Isaiah is teaching him on that guitar. And then we also had a Braille music teacher last summer, and we had a really nice gift from the Mockingbird Foundation to support that. And we had a physician from Lansing come with her partner, who is a concert violinist, and she did a lot of demonstration of a lot of genres of music on the violin. And then the doctor took the violin bow around and the violin around to show the kids how that works. A cheap violin, not her good one. And then we went on our adventure trip. So if you don't use your cane properly on an adventure trip, you may in fact end up in the emergency room. Because if you are walking around without using your cane and you run into the fire pit because it's not hot, it's still got a sharp edge on top, right? Yeah. One of our young men figured that out the hard way. And he cut his shin all the way to the bone. So we made a nice little trip into Baraboo, Wisconsin's hospital, and he got stitched up, and he still climbed 8 rock walls that week, even after doing that, which was pretty astounding. Because he wasn't allowed to go kayaking because he couldn't get it wet. So all he got to do was rock climb all week. But this is real rocks. This is not the plastic stuff. And that is definitely a different thing.
So how do you belay when you can't see?
It's all feel.
Is it?
Yeah. It is. I mean, yeah. And they said Avery was the best one they'd ever had. I don't know if they were just buttering her up, but she's on staff this summer too. Young lady at the bottom there. And let's face it, Erica is not very heavy. But and then this is right up Rich's alley too. We put all of our kids in single kayaks. There's nothing to hit out there. We're on Devil's Lake. There's nothing going on. We just put them in single kayaks and said, follow the leader. So you're following the voices, right? One of my staff members got lost. She got out to a point, she thought she was following the lead group, but she kind of lost them, and then she thought she was, like, lost. And she really had a panic attack for about 2 minutes before somebody came and found her. But she thought it was like an hour that she was out there lost, but she wasn't. But we learned something from that always try and stay within earshot of what you're trying to get to. And that's all you need to know. And like Rich said, we did go to the Apostle Islands 2 years ago, and this is our group photo from that trip. It was really super exciting. Quite a few people told our friends from Chicago Adventure Therapy, you have no business taking blind children into Lake Superior. And she said, why? Because it was her idea to put our kids in singles, not in tandem kayaks. And they did fabulously. We have great videos of them searching the rock walls that you run up against in the Apostle Islands. It was really a fantastic experience for all of them. And the best part is they captained their own ship. They didn't have to rely on some other sighted person to do their work for them. And they could decide when they wanted to go see something off to the left or see something off to the right. As long as they were within earshot of what else was going on in the group, they were completely fine. And we did have one group of kids go across the channel to an island, hang out on the beach for a little while, and then buzz back again. And we did discover that Nutella does not make a very good sandwich when it's hot in a wrap. That's nothing. They did not like that. But by that time of the camp, I didn't have much else to work with. So then we have our Harvest Festival. I know my eggplant looked a little funny, but they had run out of sunlight down there. But we do have a really great garden, and I love to produce, everything I can and use it at camp, but I also then will give that away at the end of Harvest Festival, and the parents will take that home and use it. And this is my best picture of my friend Ella. She does not like camp, she does not want to sleep in a tent, but she will come and dig potatoes all day long. So that's the slideshow. I could obviously talk for another 3 hours, but I won't do that to you. So who has questions? Yes?
How many are the age group of kids?
We started 7, and the state recently made us knock down to, we used to be 19, now we're 17. I wanted to include kids that were a little late getting out of high school, and I didn't want to deny them the opportunity to come to camp. But the state says, no, you can't have 18-year-olds in a camp with 7-year-olds. So it's now 7 to 17. So I've got 2 girls that are coming to camp this summer, and they know it's their last season. But then, if they do well, then they can become staff members the next year. We have discovered that being on staff is a whole lot different than being a camper. It's a whole lot more work than most people think. Next question. We only take 8 kids for each camp. And it may seem like 18 staff is a lot, but that's because I'm trying to give these guys job experiences. So I found different titles for them. I actually hired one guy to be the gardener. Yay, I don't have to do it all myself now. So that's a pretty awesome thing. Yes?
On the bikes, and they were following, these kids, up to this point, they never ridden a bike, and so they just go out there and learn the balance. I mean, how do you?
Okay.
It took me a year to learn how to ride a bike.
Right. So there's a process to that. Some of them have ridden in the past, because some of them have progressive disease. The young lady who rode singly last summer had vision until she was 8, but she hadn't been on a bike for 5 years at that point, because she lost it suddenly. So some of them have ridden before. But what you do is you take a bike with no pedals on it, and you get them to just learn how to balance first. And I will say, I will not ride on a tandem with my son, because he does this all the time. Like, sit still, would you? Doesn't understand that concept. So my daughter, she's great. My daughter, by the way, is an assistant camp director for another camp. So the apple didn't fall that far from the tree. So you work on a balance bike first, so that their feet are touching the ground. And then you very slowly introduce them with adaptive bikes, so maybe 3 wheels, or you get them on a tandem with somebody who's a good rider. And we've had several people from the Lansing area actually willing to come out and help us do that. I'm looking for more tandem drivers this summer, so if anybody here wants to learn how to ride a tandem, please let me know if you want to come all the way out to my camp to do that. Because I lost a couple people to other cool events this summer. So that's how it's done. It's not always totally successful. We do have some kids that, for instance, don't have full use of their right side. They're not going to be able to ride a bike independently, but they can ride a 3-wheel bike or a 4-wheel bike. And yes, I did have to patch him up last summer. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Yes.
The amount that's listed, that's what the families pay?
The family pays $25 for most of our camps. The adventure trip is $150. I do have scholarships for some of those families. I just had a mom register both her kids for scholarship. Sometimes $25 is too much for some of our families. Some of our families donate extra money to cover the fees for other campers. So it really is a give and take kind of a situation, but yes, we do offer this camp just for the price of holding your child's place with $25. It's just important to us that nobody gets turned away. for any reason, because our kids so desperately need this opportunity. They are often the only kid like them in their school. There were other visually impaired children in Ione County when my son was growing up, but he was the only one that was a Braille reader and a cane user. So every time he'd go down the hallway at high school, people would say, "Hi Greg, hi Greg, hi Greg," and he'd have no idea who was talking to him. Okay, so he's the only one like him. And that's true for most of our kids. So there may be other kids that are in wheelchairs that also have vision problems, or they may have other disabilities, but for our kids that are mostly mobile and mostly able to think for themselves and do things on their own, they are the only ones. So their tribe is at camp, and their lifelong friendships are developed at camp. And that includes with some of our staff. Some of our kids are still really good friends with our staff. I tell them to be really careful, but they really need each other, and they don't get to find each other unless they come to camp to locate them and become good friends. And I have kids coming from Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. I've had kids come from as far away as South Africa and Romania. It's been a long time, but sometimes kids will just find us who just need that summer experience. Anyone else? Thank you.
We're not done with you yet, Doug. You ready? So, we've got a little bit to help at least pay for your gas to get here.
Oh, this more than pays for it. Thank you. This is wonderful. Thank you. You guys are very generous.
We love what you do.
Thank you. I tried.
Sounds like you succeed.
Yes, our kids really do learn a lot at camp, and that self-confidence piece is just the most important thing. So thank you for helping us do that.
Well, thanks so much for coming out.
Oh my goodness. I get a bottle too. Woo! Yay! I do have to fill it myself, but that'll be fine.
Thanks, Gwen.
After the season's over, there's no bets on what's going in there.
We'll go to Doug and Secretary's report.
Okay, Secretary's report, the minutes are on the back of your agenda. Are there any additions or corrections anyone would like me to make?
Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? All opposed?
One other item on the report is something that's actually on your table, a request from the Optimist Club. They want to redo the Mason sign over by city limits. And it's going to cost each club, actually it's the same as it was back then, I think, $47 or something. So I move that we go ahead and authorize the expenditure to the Optimist Club to get our circle back up on that sign looking good.
Second. All in favor? All opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
87? Okay.
And Rich, you have a treasurer's report.
I do. Administrative account, $7,803.91. The gaming account, when I wrote this, is $17,847.35. There's $1,000 less than that in the books right now because I got a call from Dylan Little, our Swinehart Scholar today. He gets the award of being absolutely the quickest person to ever call from the scholarships. And I've had people that were trying to get a hold of in September going, "We got money for you." So I've got his checks going out in the mail tomorrow.
His college called already?
What's that?
Wherever he's going, they called to say he was.
He's going to Grand Valley State. So check's written to Grand Valley State, and it's gonna go, I'll send it to Dylan address, and it'll be good to go.
Great. And do we have a Leo's Club report?
Sure. Doug did a nice job of putting the picture of our Leo members that we took at the last meeting. And we had the outgoing faculty advisor, Amber McCray, and then our incoming advisor, Jerry Piash. They came, they talked about their plans for next year, and, we passed out participation certificates to the kids, and then to, Amber, Doug had put together a goodie bag, and I gave her some flowers, and she was very appreciative. And I think he'll do a nice job, Jerry.
He hasn't said if he's gonna do the same time, or?
I think they're looking at continuing on Thursdays. I think the time's about the same, but I'm assuming you and Karen will
Yeah.
get a hold.
Okay, do we have any old business?
We do have a couple of reports. Rich, do you want to do the one on the poker room?
Sure. Let me get my stuff around for that. This was our best, poker since, I think, somewhere a long time ago. Bottom line profit is $3,924.75. So, we're good. Let's see, can I find this? Yeah, you've got to go back to 2019 before we made more money than that at a poker room. So,
Maybe we ought to do more poker and not do the ticket taking anymore.
now we can only do 3 of those
Only do
poker
3 a
rooms.
year, so, and if they bomb, you know. Just want to let everybody know, thank you very much for everybody signing up for the shifts on the poker room. It was really cool. I had a thing in Lansing, and I had to do for certified tourism ambassador until 6:30. So I had to kill time between 6:30 and 10 p.m. So I went to Horrocks. Don't go to Horrocks, because they'll take all your money.
So, overall, how did it come out every night? Did you have any big problems, or everything came out pretty good?
Well,
Rich and I.
they had to settle one guy down. It was a Chad.
I can't remember the guy.
I think it was Chaz or Chad. They had to go over and have a little talk with the guy. They were 2 guys were mouthing off at each other.
No, I meant money-wise at the end of the.
We were the best we've ever had that I've gone through. The bank found an extra $1 on yours.
We were $1 short in ours. You owe me $1.
So, let's see, count deposit, yeah, so there were 3 or 4 where the bank found $1 more than, what we had, that we counted. And those dollars were.
Dollar bills.
They were pretty well aged. Day 4 was the only day that we gave away more money than we should have. We actually took money from the players on day 1, 2, and 3. Day 2, which is the one that we ended up on, we were $14 over on report versus deposit plus. And there's $12 on rake, so there's a little mess on that. You guys were off $1 on rake. You guys were minus $1 on rake. And day 4 was.
So you just trade knowledge.
Yeah. And day 3 was perfect.
Rich and I get the prize though, because we had 2 of the players both mentioned the words "I have a gun" when we were there.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That was a little bit of a discussion there. Yeah.
That was a discussion.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that bunker, you can duck down. I decided to let you know. You can duck down.
Well, I think Rod found somebody with a gun, but he was a judge, so.
Oh, okay. That's understandable.
So that's the poker story.
Good.
Awarding scholarships, you have in your news a picture of Chris with our 2 scholarship winners.
There isn't one up here.
Oh, it's on the table.
Would you like them, Jenny?
Yeah. And then, didn't Rich
Yes, I will go ahead and tell you what Chris did in a minute. Chris was listening very carefully that evening, and he heard them say that there was $99,000 in scholarships that were being awarded that evening.
Wow.
And because of the special nature of Noah's scholarship, we wanted to do that here, so it wasn't counted into that. Otherwise, it would have been $100,000. But Chris decided that what he'd do is he'd kind of make it $100,000 anyway. So he kicked into each one of the scholarships another $500.
Oh.
So, not Noah's, unfortunately, but the other two. But if we can, that's why he's not here tonight, because otherwise we'd hit him up for it. We really would. But yeah, so when you see Chris, thank him for making that additional contribution to the scholarships.
Chris made the additional contribution, because he said something to me. He said he is donating it. He's not making the Lions Club donate.
Right, he's donating. So our scholarship is still $1,000. He's got,
He also told me that he recognized that one of the kids,
oh yeah,
he's known that family, and that family is a good chunk of the reason why he came to Mason. So yeah, you know who I'm talking about then, yeah.
And we were there that night, and honestly, it kind of stole the show, him standing up there on behalf of the Lions and putting that out there when he was up on stage. Yeah, he got up and he announced the person's name before he announced what the awards were, and made this connection about the family and stuff, which was pretty awesome. But it was neat to see somebody stand up and say, you know what, we can't do this odd number, we need to round that to 100,000. So that was really good.
Anything anybody else wants to say about Chris while he's not here?
He's in Grand Rapids.
Don't tell him.
I got a text message back from him.
Okay. Lynn, you could do a report on the flower planting, I suppose.
Well, last week, the geranium flowers came in and put out a quick email, and I think we had there's a picture here. There were 8 people showed up on quick short notice, and took us about 20 minutes to plant all the flowers. And anyway, thank you. They cost $1.76 per plant. We got 95 plants. And so Rich wrote me a check tonight to the American Legion for $167, and I'll take that up and deposit that tonight. Well, thank you.
We need people to water.
I'll water tomorrow. We went down and we had water that day, and we got a little bit dry, so I was planning tomorrow afternoon. I'll go down and water tomorrow afternoon, but it's just a matter of kind of, you go by and they look like they're starting to droop or something.
Well, yeah, because didn't we start watering them last year, and then somebody had already picked up whoever was doing the pots uptown or
I think the
something?
Boy Scouts.
Boy Scouts or?
Yeah, they just kind of picked it up, and I don't know who's in charge of doing that watering, but last year worked out real nice.
Yeah,
Hopefully they'll do it again.
yeah.
But I'll plan on watering tomorrow afternoon.
Now, do you get the water from across the street?
They're at on the west side of the street, the little oil effects
Oh, okay.
building on the side of their building, they have a water spigot. I talked with them, and they said, yeah, take as much water as you need to plant your water thing. I used to have two jerry cans that I bring in and fill them up and divide them up.
Are you talking water at Sharon Robbins' place?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that spigot, if I remember last year, was only about that far off the ground, it seemed like.
It's a short one, and so actually what I do, I got 2 5-gallon jerry cans from home, and it's just easier to put them in the back of the pickup, and I fill them things up.
Oh, so you don't get water from,
No.
okay.
And if I do need some, I got a short watering can, I can just go over there and it'll reach in there, but it's a real
Yeah.
short.
Yeah, you could. No, we don't use it that much, so. Okay.
Update on the picnic, all I know is that, he did say that we get out there at, Barodas Town Hall, we get the pavilion thing. And I will have to evidently get ahold of Chris and email everybody and fill you in. in the past, I don't remember last year, did we do the hamburgers and hot dogs, or did we just go with what everybody?
Last year Jeff and I brought ham, and then this year Jamie's gonna do, what was it? Barbecue beef.
Yes, that's
Oh,
right.
Yeah, and then Jeff and I'll provide buns.
Okay, so then everybody just bring a dish to pass, table service, of course, unless we have some, I don't know. Everybody bring their own. And did we provide drinks last year? I don't remember, just like water or something like that?
I don't remember.
Okay, well, I'll see what I can get maybe some more. If I need anything else, I will email people and let them know. Need anything, get ahold of us. No, you get ahold of me. Let's see, oh,
Our officers for next year have been reported to LCI, just want to let everybody know that, so that's all done.
and Lorraine, we did install them last time, right?
And I've asked Lorraine to do the installation again,
At the
at the
picnic
picnic,
or?
yeah, we did it at the picnic last week.
Okay. My mind was not in it last year.
Wait, don't forget, no Sharon's phone.
Okay, any other items that we would like to discuss before we go down and do our, yes.
Just a reminder, this coming Monday is Memorial Day, 8 o'clock, at the memorial over here, doing a ceremony reading of the dead from, World War I up through current. And then there'll be a parade, starts at 9 o'clock, and down to the bridge where the flowers are placed. And then proceeding from there out to the, cemetery, and the service, or the ritual will end out at the cemetery, for Civil War.
Is it gonna start down at,
The parade starts at, the park down at the bottom of Corn Street Hill. But the ceremony downtown starts at 8 o'clock. If you've never been to it, I'm telling you, it's pretty impressive.
bring a chair, 'cause,
They read all their names.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they don't put the chairs up anymore, do they?
I believe we're gonna have, I'm not positive on that, but chairs to sit on, I think we're gonna have some. Yeah. If not, just bring your own. But, if you've never been to it, it's pretty impressive, just hearing the names.
Mm-hmm. And then the 21, or the gun salute is very,
We'll
very
be doing that too. Wayne will be in it.
Don't shoot yourself this year.
Anything else for the board? Okay, then maybe we should
I'm
do our,
gonna start to prepare something. I can't make it on. Because I'm not sure my knees are gonna get me that far.
Try another. It better not be.
The spooky thing is, the Civil War people that are.
Last three numbers, 416.
You got 50.
Yes, sir. Oh, you won again? It was $1 this week, just $1. 16 big ones.
And the name of the Civil War veteran was long.
Put it in my pocket?
Just long.
You donates it back.
Years in World War II.
and then we can have Jeff do his
Can I drop my own?
Joker.
Sure.
You guys know the Joker drawings?
How much are we up to, Jeff?
400
400?
That would be worth it, yeah.
It seems high.
It's awful high.
Yeah, double check that.
Cut it back.
Up to $69.
That's all right.
Last three numbers are 367.
That's me.
Yeah,
Say it again.
No, me.
Nope, Cindy.
What are you doing with the phone?
Oh, good, three.
I looked at the dollar store the other day, the girl was wiping out all the spoons and knives and stuff. And taking it out with a wooden nickel. And we're finishing dinner so far.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Third.
Aye. Aye.
Well, thank you very much, Tom. Want these papers? Thank you very
I wrote them down, but thank you. That's good. I was curious.
This is to recycle.
But you look like somebody from the I don't doubt that. Charlie is a member of our church. We go to church in Lansing. It's a long story as to quite how that happened. He preached here until he retired. You can't stay in a church that you in. Interfering with the pastor. So he chose our church, which has been really good. And Shirley. No, I don't know Roger.
I don't know what oh, thank you. That's all that was left. Oh.
Did he go to school for blind at all?
Yeah. I never had trouble. It's easier to sit down and do some of that stuff.
Because it doesn't exist anymore. So I'm confused.
Don't do that Monday too many times.
Thanks for coming. Thank you. Good luck with Are we ready?
Oh,
Some of these guys, they get
and they
paid.
keep looking at it. Nah, we can't operate. That ain't bad enough to operate. We'll give it another shot. Okay? So, yeah. Ain't doing nothing. So I think quit getting those. Here comes and goes.
And they'll tell you you gotta go to physical therapy because we got an insurance company will let you can do that even if you can't do it.
I've heard that. But now the thing to do is, so physical therapy, whether or not your back's broke or not.
No, you gotta do physical therapy for a month. Make sure that you're not, make sure you're not faking it.
Right.
5:30?
5:30.
See you then.
See you then.
Camp T
Okay.
is only doing short camps, they're not doing full weeks. And they don't have blind safety. Tyler's going to the Olympics.
Okay, goodbye, guys.
He is third to mine. That's football. He's the oldest person on the team. That was just on the news list. They don't hold camp the way we hold camp.
Well, the fathers actually could have come out of.
So they don't have a job training thing at all. And Bear Lake is just different. And they only do 1 week for blind kids. 1 week kids with juvenile diabetes and 1 week for hearing impaired kids. And they're trying to spin that back up again because after Dennis left, the whole thing almost collapsed. They were on.
Dave Kruger displayed, the Woodster Community Bill, that was some of the first couple of Clearwater symposiums.
Yeah.
25 years ago.
Oh, yeah. They made sure.
I gotta remember to turn this off today.